many of you saw this morning's eclipse? This is the book that is published, and I'm working on my second book. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Morning.
Living life liberated. The dictionary has various meanings for the word liberated. For me personally, liberation means not just for a nation, but at a personal level, it means doing what I want, when I want, with whom I want, and where I want, while remaining responsible and ecological. So when we hear the word responsible, we know pretty much what it means, at least we think we know. But ecological, the moment you hear the word, we only think of, oh, ecological disaster. So let me explain what again ecological means to me. It means it's good for me, good for my friends and family, good for my community, nation, and the planet. I was born in India, in Assam, and Assam is a state in the northeast, and it is a hilly state. It's in the foothills of the Himalayas. And it's, in those days, I was born in 1966, it was a tiny town. Right now it's a metropolis. We just chop down the hills and we construct buildings, and not being very ecological, but that's how it is. But when I was born, it was a tiny town, and it was surrounded by a lot of tea estates and the tropical jungles. And there is this mighty river called Brahmaputra. You might not remember the name, but if you go and look at the biggest river in the northeast of India, it's called Brahmaputra. It flows from Tibet and into the Bay of Bengal. Before it flows, it goes through Bangladesh before flowing to the Bay of Bengal. So in India, this is what people do when there's a little child. Honey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And most of you know what they are expecting to hear: an engineer, a doctor, or a government officer. And I said, I want to be happy. And of course, there was rude laughter. What do you mean you want to be happy? I said, everyone wants to be happy. And I said, well, if everybody wants to be happy, then how come they are not? And now there was more questions like, well, you need to give up. Sometimes you need to compromise. There needs to be peace. Not everyone can have everything they want. And I listened to everything they said. But, I didn't have any other response for them. I said, oh, I don't know. I don't care what I do or what I have, but I want to be happy. As a 3-year-old, that was the best I could do. So the next question is, where would you like to live when you grow up? And of course, they were expecting either Calcutta, Bombay, or Delhi. Those were the 3 metropolises in northern India. And I said, I don't care where I live, but wherever I live, there will be the hills and the ocean. And of course, everybody thought that was crazy, because everybody in the tiny town in the foothills of Himalayas knew that where there is the hills, you have the jungles, and in the ocean, by the ocean, you have the beach, and you can't have a jungle and a beach at the same time. So for 36 years, I worked and I walked my way to a place where we have the hills and the ocean, and that place is Ventura. In my early 20s, I was doing my master's in computer science, and the advice I got from every well-wisher was, you need to get married and get settled. A friend of mine, his mother would always tell me, once a bird starts to fly, it doesn't find a nest. I would have been married for 20 years. I was married for 20 years. I'm no longer married. I have 3 children. And I live life on my terms. And this is what I mean as liberated. I live as a farmer, I live as a gypsy, and I live as a hermit. A month ago, I was in Baltimore. This weekend, I was in Denver. I like to travel. So that's where my magic happens. So what does living liberated really mean? It means, does it mean that everything is perfect in my life? No, it's not. Stuff happens. Life comes your way. And what do you do then? The whipped cream goes to the fan. What do you do at that moment? At that moment, I look within myself and I ask, how did I manage to create this insolence? How did I manage to do it? And it comes from understanding. So here is my formula for living life liberated, which I would love to share with you. First, understand what's going on. Because there is a reason how we create our life every single day. Second, once you understand it, don't fight it. Because the more we fight, the more power we give away. Accept it. Yes, this is my current situation. The next thing is forgiveness. And this is a hard one. And there is no one to forgive if you really think about it. You only forgive yourself for having held on to things for so long. Once you forgive yourself, what happens is a peace comes within you. You find that peace. And when you have that peace, you find something that we always look for. We become love. Love. When you can love yourself, you can love anyone in the world. I promise you that. And that is what true liberation is. Now, we had a lot of words, and what do we do with these words? Because you can have tons of words or an ounce of practice. And if you can take that, understand, accept, forgive, peace, love, you can live life liberated. That is how I live it every single day, only one day at a time. I don't stretch it too far, and I wish that upon you too.